Everybody to the first lesson in Fantasy Module Parser, creating a project. When you open up Fantasy Module Parser for the very first time, you will get a screen that looks very similar to this. First step, go to Options, Settings, and make sure your main project, NPC, and all of these fields are exactly how you want them. If you need to change any of your default data paths, you just double click on that field and it brings up a browse for folder section that you then fill out. I'm not changing it because I like how it is. The other options you do have: persistent preview windows, which all this really means is that when you go to preview the NPC statistics, it will appear to the right of your Fantasy Module Parser. Otherwise, it will pop up like a new window and you'll have to close it before you can move on. You can select the default graphic user interface on startup. Right now the only option is NPC option. I forgot to add a few things, so this is definitely another thing I'll be fixing. But you will also see spell option, and for the patrons, spell option here will be editable too. And another setting we do have is load last project. What this does is when you close down Fantasy Module Parser, the next time it is opened up, you will be brought directly into the last project you was working on. Now, NPCs, none of these actually work at this point, but in the future they will be an option, and in the future we will have a log that will be created by what you're doing inside Fantasy Module Parser. It will help Darkpool and I identify problems faster, and instead of us always asking for you to do so many things, it should make it where you just send us a log and we can look from there. But at this point you want to hit save and close, go back to your options, manage project. This, of course, is the patron version because spells is active. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory. You need to give your module a title, which for this one, testing module. Category, we'll make it an NPC. Author, myself. File name can be anything you want, which we'll just leave it at testing. And if you notice, as we typed in testing down here in module path, you see it now says testing.mod. Now, thumbnail file name, that would be if you are adding a thumbnail that will be active or be seen when you are using the library. Now, just like the files for default path, you have to double click to edit this, and when you do it this way, it does bring up a regular file select window, and just find your file and go from there. GM view only means that it will be created where you cannot share it with with your players, and then you have lock records. Lock records generally will never be used unless you are working on a Wizards of the Coast or Smiteworks sanctioned project that is being sold on the Smiteworks website. Another thing is you have your parser information over here. Images, tokens, NPCs, monsters, and spells. Each one that you select will determine what will actually be brought into the module and campaign when you create them, if you decide to use the campaign mode. So once you have all this done, filled in, you hit save and close. Now you wonder, okay, so we've just saved and closed. What does that do? When you go in and you open up your window explorer, I'll go into my users, go all the way down my tree into roaming and FMP, where I have it defaulted to save. You open up projects and you'll see testing.fmp 12/21/20, which is literally right when I did it. And if I open it up, which you can open it up with any text editor, I like Notepad++ personally. Unfortunately, computer's taking a moment. As you will see, it is in a JSON format. Right now, there's a name, category, author, module name. This is all information that will be used when creating the module file or the campaign folder. At this point, I am not going to go much further in because this is only about how to create a project. With that being said, I will see you again in lesson 2.